After more than 10 years, Chris Isaak burst onto the music scene in 1991 with his top-selling album, Heart-Shaped World. Since then, the soulful singers, most often compared to Roy Orbison and Elvis Presley, has been busy not only with music, but also films. He's included in Silence of the Lambs, Little Buddha, and most recently, Grace of My Heart, and Tom Hanks, The Thing That You Do. Music remains his first love. His latest CD is the Baja Sessions, and I am very, very pleased to have him on this program. And after this conversation, you'll hear him and his band. Welcome.
Great to be here.
It's my pleasure. Let me talk a little bit about Baja Sessions, because this is what intrigued me, among other things, is to what you put in here. You convinced Warner Brothers to take you. Listen, I can see the conversation between you.
You're rubbing a sore spot already, I can tell.
Between you and the executive, you say, you'll get the best out of me and the guys if you just let us go down and sort of hang out for a couple of weeks and just...
Exactly. It's, you know, they said, well, couldn't you do this whole record in San Francisco? And I said, you know, we need to go down and to just get some ideas for songs and hang out on the beach and be under a palm tree and just be left alone down there. And when I was saying it, I got to be honest, I was thinking about surfing.
Yeah, right.
And it was a good place to surf.
It's good surfing territory?
I've been there before. Yeah. But then when we got down there, actually the first single we would never have recorded if we hadn't gone down there to Baja.
Why is
because,
that?
Well, we came back and we were listening to tapes of different, we did a lot of songs. And when we came back, I'm listening, and we had, between every song, we would screw around with the first Think of Tomorrow. And it had a great sound, which we would never thought of either, because we had to borrow a kick drum, the bottom drum, which somebody had like sat in the back of a bar and let the rain kind of get on it until it sounded like rubber. And the snare drum had, I think they're mud daubers or wasps, I'm not sure, but it had some kind of bugs in it that gave it a nice rattle. So you get a different sound. You get a different sound than when you travel, you know.
Yeah. Where do these songs come from? Three of them?
A couple of new ones I wrote there.
Pretty Girls Don't Cry, Back on Your Side.
Some stuff I did before, but I've done. I wanted to do a real acoustic, kind of a pretty. The whole record, the whole idea of the whole record was that this isn't a great marketing idea. I don't know if it's a. When I was making the record, I wasn't thinking about getting on the radio. Yeah. I was thinking about a record that you get home, turn down the lights, and you're with your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever, you're sitting on the couch, and that you could put the whole album on and you could just listen to it and let it roll. And so everything is kind of quiet and gentle and acoustic, and so that's the kind of the common thing between everything in there.
Am I right in believing and saying that music is still the first love for you, more than film and more than anything you could possibly do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who were the influences? Who shaped what you sing and what you think about?
You know, I get asked that a lot, and a lot of times I answer because I'm talking to people who have no reference point to the people that I want to talk about. So I answer, they always know Orbison, and because I can hit falsetto notes, or I hit up in the high stuff once in a while, they'll see that comparison, or they'll say Elvis because I got a little bit of white trash hairstyle, and they see that, but
remember, I come from North Carolina.
Good enough. Stockton, California. They don't talk about Bo Diddley, who I listened to a ton of Bo Diddley, or I listened to Nino Tempo. You remember Nino Tempo, April Stevens?
Yeah.
I mean, I listened to over and over, and Buck Owens, and so a lot of mixed bag of different things. I got a strange and big record collection.
When did you know this is what you wanted to do? To sing, to perform?
What I wanted to do right away. I mean, I wanted to do it, but like I say, you know, like, I don't know how small town you're from, but
15,000.
Okay, well, you know what this is about. It's like in your town there wasn't anybody, I'm betting, who had his own talk show.
No. Not only that, I'd never been in, when I got in broadcasting, I'd never been inside of a television studio. I'd never seen a television studio.
You have this idea you want to
know anybody who was in
television. You want to do something, but you don't know anybody who does it, and you don't know you have no steps to go to do it.
And nobody can tell you where you go, and nobody can tell you what it's like, and nobody can tell you anything.
The closest thing in my town was like somebody who teaches music or something.
Yeah.
But I would, when I was about 14 or something, I get a tape recorder. I went down and they had this tape recorder, they used to have them with a T-bar control. And I thought that, man, this is snazzy. I got that and I started putting songs together, and then I went through college and I was always making music at home, but I never had a band really. I wasn't having enough guts to go out and play in front of people. And then when I got out of college, I thought, well, this is it. I got to try it now or forget it. And got a band together and just started hustling and playing.
You're eminently, at least for me, approachable and interesting. I mean, you're easy to know and like off the top. Yet when I read about
Wait
you,
till you get to know me.
you know, it's all downhill from
Don't
there.
let me money.
You don't repay your debts there?
I do.
But it is the notion that they write about you as being reasonably shy. There's a lot written about you, the fact that you never had a drug, never were into drugs or a fast life. And they also
kept me out of the media. I should be, and I think about it.
See, you weren't thinking career, were you?
I think about these people,
career.
They do drugs, they get on every talk show, they're talking about it. I'm thinking, well, there's nothing to talk to me about because I've been straight every day.
Life.
And then they're on there, there's pictures of me making love with my supermodel wife, and I don't know how they got out to the press. I also have some 3x5 postcards available.
I just saw a star, a big star that was accused of that whenever there was a story about some breakup with a husband, she was the one who was sending these photos out, to the media.
More power to them.
But there's also this, singing about hurt and singing about lost love is what made...
Well, that's some... when you do acting and stuff, you kind of find out what things you're willing to express. For me, when I was acting, it's always been, it's interesting. You find out it's like you have a hard time, certain emotions come easier than others. Yeah. And for me, some people come up and they say, how can you, talk about those things? They're so personal in your music. But it's, I guess because in real life I don't talk about that stuff. I'm in a relationship and I have a very hard time saying some of the stuff. I mean, when I was in my relationship, I'd always pick up a guitar and say, I want to sing something, and I would just figure maybe they would get the idea that,
you find it difficult to talk to women.
Not with a guitar. If I have a guitar, I feel like I have a chance.
Oh, no, come on. I mean, that's just...
I never... Thank God I'm in a band, and thank God I'm like, have my picture in a magazine or something like that, so people will come up to me and say, could I have an autograph? So they initiate the conversation.
And why is that?
Which is because I've never gone up in a bar or something and said, there's a pretty girl, I want to talk to her. And
yeah, but looking like you do, you don't have to do that.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you think so.
Well, but I mean, come on.
I've never done that. I've never been scared
I've never been able to. I mean, I used to think that
you got your own show, though. You don't have to do it.
Well, I can't either. If I had to go pick up someone, I would be, it would just be impossible.
Yeah.
I would be too shy, too sure of failure, and 3, wouldn't know how to do it.
That's kind of...
And I'm a lot older than you.
See? Well, that's why you get in a band, and you can meet people.
Or your own show. And
you get, that's the nice thing about it is people come up and they say hi, and they kind of act like, well, maybe you're not going to... Maybe you're going to be bothered or something. But to me, I love it.
I do too,
Because I like talking to people, but I'm just a little bit shy about doing it at first,
You've also had, to know a little bit about your life, you've had the fact that good people have liked your work. Bonnie Raitt and people like that.
Yeah.
David Byrne.
Bonnie Raitt, I can't say enough about. She is fantastic. We went on the road with Bonnie Raitt, and let me tell you, she is as nice as you think she is. She's that nice. She comes backstage, she eats with a crew, she talks to everybody. Totally cool.
There was nobody who achieved success after having initial success and then some years that weren't so great, who won more sort of enthusiasm when she won those Grammys after not having been on top for a while. Because, no one wanted to see someone come back as much as they wanted to see Bonnie because of just the things that you said.
She's very real.
Who else has made a difference like that?
Oh, Orbison was really, Roy Orbison was really, I think, probably one of the nicest people I ever met in anything. We were talking about it before and I said, you say, oh, you probably, you never forget his voice. And I think it's weird because over time, I remember his voice, but when I think about him or hear his music, I remember what a nice guy he was. He was, we did a show and we were opening for him and we didn't have a hit at the time. We were just, and also added attraction, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so we did our show and my folks had come because it was a free ticket to see Roy Orbison.
Yes.
And
Chris got us in with him to see Roy.
They talked to him for like an hour because they were about the same age or something. So they talked to him, and my dad came. He said, "He's so nice." He talked for an hour. Well, afterwards they were taking pictures of Roy. All the news people were over there, and they were taking pictures. And he was just starting his kind of like comeback, whatever. And when they were taking his picture, my brother said, he whispered something. He said, "Go get Chris. Somebody go get, where's Chris?"
Yeah, it's just like that. Yeah.
And they got me, and he didn't need me in the picture. What it was he knew if he stood like this, I'd get my picture in the paper and be a big deal for me, and it was. And I mean, that was just a million things like that. Really nice guy.
A great songwriter.
Yeah, a great songwriter.
Where are you musically today? I mean, has there been an evolution? Are you different than you were 5 years ago? I mean, has the sound changed? Has the
a little bit,
interpretation changed?
I think a little bit it's changed. I think the band that I'm with has got real tight. I've had the same guys for, Rolly, Kenny, and more than 10 years. Herschel a couple years, and a band starts to get they start to get a kind of a different feel or different sound over time. And it was really exciting. This album we made, the Baja Sessions, was kind of something I always wanted to do. It was very pretty, very mellow. We went in the studio and we sat down in a little circle about as big, from me to you, and played real quietly. And I always want to do something like that. So this album was a little different than everything else I've done.
What do you want to do with a movie career?
Probably movies that some people would like a lot and not a lot of people would see.
With small stories that are real.
Like my favorite film of the last year, I don't know the name in English, it was a Japanese film out of like 1964.
Yeah.
And a B movie.
What'd you like about it?
It started off like the typical, cool guy assassin, and then, you see this guy who dresses well, he's got a beautiful wife, their sex life is great, you're watching, you're going, this is great. He's got he's got the gun that takes apart and puts it, it's all exciting, and then about the second half of the film goes into what it would really be like psychologically being this, and it's horrible. And it was this kind of interesting, it was almost, it's a funny film, but it's dark and funny. I thought, films that, not necessarily the biggest box office, but just something that, you're interested and you like to do.
Yeah. Are you
kind of like the music, I guess.
Yeah. Bertolucci, how'd you come to his attention?
Somebody said, Bertolucci's casting a film. He's looking around.
It's Little Buddha, right?
Yeah, Little Buddha. And I had just seen, was it 1900?
Yeah, right.
And I thought, wow, what a great filmmaker. And I thought, well, I don't have a shot in hell of being in his film, but I thought it'd be a great chance to meet him. And I just would like to see what he's like. I'd just seen this film, and I know his other work. So I went in and met him, and he kind of sat and talked to me, and the first thing he said was, he's too young.
Too young.
He's too young for the film. He's too young. And then after a little while, like he talked and we talked, and then he said, come with me to the bathroom. I thought, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
We went into the bathroom, and he goes, can you do something with your hair? Like, I guess, because he says, like, you have to play a father. He goes, and then the casting director was there, and he was saying, we can wash that out of his hair. We'll wash that out, we'll blow dry it, we'll fix it, we'll cut it.
Yeah, whatever you want.
I was saying, hey, whatever you want.
We'll shave it off if you like. Whatever you want.
But and actually for the film, for about 3 or 4 months or something, I had this short, clean haircut, which I haven't had since I was about 14.
Which brings me to this major question.
There you go.
Why do you wear the hair the way you wear the hair?
Well, it changes, most of the time I'm on the road, it's just like, this is quick and greasy.
Why greasy then?
I don't know, I guess...
it makes it manageable.
Yeah, I guess being somebody who's not very rebellious in a lot of ways, maybe this is some way of saying, I'm not a banker. You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm not because people are a lot of times surprised how square I am in every other way. Well, the band isn't surprised now, but I'm pretty square in every other way. So it's nice to have something about you that
says
looks a little bit like Carnival, like you might operate a tilt-a-whirl.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Or you look at you and you say, look at that there. That's a dangerous man.
There you go.
And look at those sideburns. I mean, I'm telling you, this is a man.
You wouldn't hire a babysitter.
Yeah. We're going to hear some music now. One last question about I want to talk a little bit about Heart-Shaped World.
Mm-hmm.
When you first recorded that, and it just says something about show business, it was not immediately a hit.
No, it wasn't.
It had been around about a year.
It had been around a while, and
This is 1991.
David Lynch, I have to thank for, in some ways, bringing that back, because he had a film.
Yeah, Blue Velvet.
No, we have music in that, but I think it's in the film that Wicked Game was in, is Wild at Heart, I think.
Yeah.
But he called up, Chris, I love your song, buddy. Can we get that in the film? I want to do a video. It's like, and at the time, you know, I was like, a video? We don't have any money.
We don't have video.
And so he directed the video, the first video for this. This is not the one where I'm rolling on the beach with a beautiful model, but there's a video from, kind of based on his film. And he kind of brought it back to life.
Did Herb Ritts do that, or who?
Herb Ritts did the video on the beach.
Yeah.
And people still come up and ask, was that your girlfriend? And which is amazing to me. I just think that people would know, no, I'm in show business. Some of the, like I'm in a movie, some of the things I do, you know, they're not for real, you know.
No.
I wish.
Would have been nice. She's beautiful.
She is a beautiful girl. And that was kind of the first thing that Helena Christensen, the first thing, and when we did that, I said, who's this going to be? And Herb Ritts said, it's a girl, Helena Christensen. He goes, trust me, I think she's going to be big. He was right.
Yeah, she's big.
She is big, and she, you know, she was really shy when I did that. And I thought, you know, I couldn't get any kind of reading on her personality. I thought, she doesn't like me, or she's aloof, or what? And I saw her like a year ago, and she's just very cool now.
Where would you like to be 5 years from now? Other than
come back here,
talking to
be
me.
doing about the same thing. I'd like to be doing, well, you know, the next album that I do, the only thing I can think is I've done albums that are very kind of similar. I think I have to try some different things a little bit, which is dangerous because you always can alienate or lose people or offend people, but I lay in my bed and I'm thinking I want to try to do some things that are a little more outside.
Musically?
Yeah, because I have a tendency to
Coast?
not coast, but like I like to do things very pretty music and things, and that's nice. But I also have to be willing to put a little bend on things. This album, I think, is got a couple of twists on it, and I'm happy about that. And I want to continue to, you know, push a little bit.
Is this
Try
Baja
something different.
trailer? Can they see that? Can you
That's
guys
a trailer out there.
That's where you were down there?
That place was
in between surfing.
In between surfing. Oh, I was working there. You can see I'm just resting there.
All right. We're going to have some numbers.